I always say it takes an athlete 2 to 3 years to learn how to train, like to learn how to control heart rate, how to prepare for sessions, how to manipulate their body and their data so they can always stay consistent. That's a learned art.
We do the lactate test, we get the results, then how does that apply to the training?
It's setting up those zones you need so that you know what type of training you need to do. So let's say, and this is generally true, right? There's very few people who don't fit this mold, this idea of 80% endurance training. Think below threshold, and 20% of like higher intensity training as a broad strokes, okay? We need to know what easy is for you. We need to know what hard is for you. So the zones are set from your lactate testing on exactly what they are for you at this period in time. So we can then see when we retest what part of your physiology has changed. Okay. So racing is a totally different, right? So what we're trying to do, think about this, think about a cyclist is a great way to look at it, to simplify the whole picture. They'll do long endurance rides to build their aerobic system. They'll do some sustained tempo work, sustained paces to get stronger and hold pace. Specific threshold intervals and climbing, and some out-and-out sprint fast stuff at its basics. So they do those separate sessions, and then they'll go for a ride and they start to mix it all up, or they'll do an early season race and mix it all up. And so what they're doing is they're bringing all those individual components of fitness together, building the perfect cake, the perfect recipe, so that then everything's working together so they can then peak and go and race. So it's a bit the same with triathlon's a much more complicated sport, but really a great triathlete thinks of a flow from A to B, and that's the start of the swim to the end of the run. It's one flow, it's one effort. And so we look at making that as efficient as possible and knowing what you can sustain on the bike in order to have a great run. A typical thing I get in my lab is that someone comes in and says, hey, you know, my run sucks, I'm really good on the bike, I need to work on my run. And I test them, their run's great and their bike sucks. And what that means is, in a race, they're biking beyond their fitness, beyond their conditioning. So by the time they get to their run, they've got nothing left. So, but in that situation, the lab teaches them, oh my God, I need to change my bike training because my run's actually going really, really well. Or I've had young cross-country runners come in from high school, and the coach will say, oh, Fred's not got a kick. He always gets dropped in the last 800 meters of the race. We need to work on his speed. So they start working on speed with them. I test them and I realize this poor kid, by the time he reaches the last 800 meters of the race, he's full of lactate, he's working way beyond his threshold, he's got nothing left, no wonder he's got no kick. So if we developed him more aerobically rather than speed, then he'd have room for a kick at the end. So the testing takes away all the guesswork and all the theories that humans have and just gives you the science to act on. So for me as a coach, it's the best ever, right? Someone comes into my lab, all the theories, all the stories have gone. Let's test you, see what you present with. Let's interpret it smartly. And then we both know your body has spoken. And we put that into use then. And then all you've got to do is test, prescribe, do it. And that loop, test, prescribe, do it, repeat, goes on and on and on, getting faster, faster all the time. Because there's no stories involved. There's no theories. It's just science.
What's the ideal testing time period? Like how often, how frequent are you doing it?